as the establishment is attacked by Blood Clan warriors, and Yua is surprised to hear this, thinking the Blood Clan has allied with the demon cult. Lin's group wants to help, but Shigo becomes furious, saying their only mission is to be chased back to the spiritual world. But they refuse to leave, so he attacks them with an energy beam, but Cheng uses his barrier to protect them. Shigo threatens to fight them if they don't leave, but Cheng challenges him, saying he should accept their help if he wins. But the system advises Lin to take Cheng's place, so he tells Shigo to fight him instead. Shigo accepts, and he immediately uses a water skill, while Lin covers himself with the earth's energy, but Ling suddenly appears behind him, saying he has no right to challenge her father, as she kicks him away. Ling continues her beatdown, as Shigo tells him to give up, calling her a genius, but Lin manages to grab her, and she uses her skill, allowing her to break free. She charges in, creating explosions with her fists, but Lin uses his heavenly gateway to absorb her powers. So she retreats, and she launches an energy ball, but it gets absorbed by the heavenly gateway. Ling uses the energy, charging at Shigo as he unleashes his god-level skill, so Shigo tries to defend, but Lin uses his crybaby skill, and Shigo remembers the moment his wife left him. Lin is about to strike him down, but Yua absorbs all of his energy. She says they're both skilled at illusions, as she sees Shigo crying, calling the crybaby's skill a soul-level illusion. Yua admits that his strength is extraordinary, but she challenges him to withstand her soul attack before they accept help from his group. She uses her skill on him, surrounding him with magical energy, but Ling refuses to admit defeat, so she charges at Lin, but she loses consciousness as she enters the skill's area of effect. Lin grabs onto her, and he uses his almighty technique, and he exudes a powerful aura, as a pillar of light appears, allowing him to dispel Yua's illusion. Everyone's surprised to see this, and we learn that the almighty technique makes his desires absolute in the world. He slowly descends to the ground, as Shigo realizes that the world of cultivation is vast, and Yua asks him if he used an illusion. But he denies this, saying it counts as a soul attack, so she admits defeat, and decides to accept their help. The alarm rings again, so they open a portal, and Shigo takes Lin and Ling, telling them to get along, as he throws them inside the portal. As they're being teleported, the system notifies him that he has just perfected his spiritual eyes, so he can now see through everything. They arrive at the ghost village, and Ling explains that their mission is to investigate the enemy, so that the headquarters can come up with countermeasures. Ling warns him that the mist is poisonous, and they see it at a distance, so Ling uses a skill to survey the area. The system reveals that the Earth's energy can dispel the toxic mist, and the spiritual eyes can see through it. Ling detects two powerful enemies nearby, so she reports this to the headquarters, asking for reinforcements. The Alliance receives the report, so they think about sending 2 disciples to help Lin, but Shigo doesn't want to send Lin's friends, because it would disrupt the battle deployment. But Lana and Cheng are worried about him, so they implore Shigo to let them join the battle. The enemies make their way to Lin, spreading the mist as they move, so Ling tells him to retreat, but he refuses, activating his spiritual eyes, and he mentions that her report was wrong, because there are 4 enemies approaching them. The mist continues to spread, but Lin pushes it back, saying he'll go in to check on the enemy, as he surrounds himself with earth energy. A few moments later, he returns to her, running away with her, and he asks for her phone, as he reveals that their enemies are at the spiritual nurturing level, so they're going to need help. Ling hears the enemies crying, and we learn that he talked to them when he entered the mist, and they thought he was making fun of them, so they tried to attack him, but he used his crybaby skill to stop them. Back at the headquarters, Shigo refuses to send Lana and Cheng, saying their levels aren't high enough, and Yua orders 2 disciples to go instead. As they're about to leave, Lana gets in their way, wanting to go with them, so Shigo becomes upset, ordering the disciples to attack her. One of them fires an energy beam, and she manages to defend herself, but she gets pushed back, as she tells Cheng that Lin is in danger. So he joins the fight, using his technique to save her, and he promises to succeed in the ghost village, saying they can have his head if he fails. Cheng and Lin enter the portal, as Shigo receives reports from other areas, revealing that they're surrounded by enemies of unknown level. They see an image of a woman named Kuro, who Shigo recognizes as a threat, so Yua gives the order to send an urgent message to the spiritual world. Yua orders everyone to defeat Kuro, and one of them is about to enter the portal, but he suddenly stops, so they pull him away. But they realize that his face is covered with dark energy, so Shigo tries to attack the portal, but dark energy flows out of it, and it completely overpowers them, knocking them down as the portal disappears. A rift opens, covering the area in dark energy, as Kuro makes her entrance, saying they now have 10 human sacrifices. Yua tries to use an ability, but Kuro absorbs her energy, saying she will catch the main target for the ceremony. Meanwhile, Lin's friends join him on the battlefield, and they lose contact with their base. Ling knows that something happened, saying the situation is out of control, so she wonders what they should do. She tells everyone to retreat, saying they should return with reinforcements, but Lin tells her that they haven't lost the battle yet, and Sheng thinks they can turn the tables. Lin realizes it's too silent, so he takes a peek when a vampire suddenly charges at him. She flies away with him, using her skill before letting him go, and as he falls, 2 other vampires attack him, causing him to lose consciousness. Sheng tries to help, but a vampire stops him, pushing him back, so he uses his binding technique, wrapping her in chains, before landing a decisive blow. Lin continues to fall as 2 vampires attack Cheng, preventing him from reaching Lin, and he's about to hit the ground, so Lana jumps to save him, but a demon summons lightning, blowing them away. They both hit the ground, and Ling tries to attack the demon, but he uses a lightning spell, knocking her down. He's about to finish her off, but Cheng arrives to save her, trying to stab the demon, who grabs his blade. The vampires are about to attack him, but he uses his barrier to keep them away, and Lana recovers, so she runs to Lin, but a vampire gets in her way, using a sonic attack to stop her. The enemy grabs onto Lin, ready to bite his neck, when Lin uses his almighty technique to disable the enemies, causing them to become distracted, and his friends use this opportunity to take them out. Lin gets back up, but a rift suddenly appears behind him, and arms grab onto him, pulling him into the rift before it closes. Kuro prepares for the ceremony, reaching out to a ball filled with dark energy, where we see Lin as the system wakes him up. It tells him that he's in a major crisis, so it suggests using the ring that Quen gave him. The system advises him to focus all of his thoughts into the ring, telling him to yell a transformation line. So he follows the instructions, causing the ring to glow brightly as he sees a woman's arm grabbing onto his hand. The rift closes before Lana could enter, and the vampire is about to bite her, but Cheng saves her, pushing the vampire away. Lana sees a rift behind Ling, so she uses her skill as she thrusts at it, and she almost hits Kuro at the other side. At that moment, the ball explodes, creating a powerful shockwave, which blows the vampires away as a pillar of light appears, and we see Quen holding onto Lin. She dashes off, taking out the vampires in an instant, and she sends Lin's friends into the rift. Kuro approaches them, recognizing Lin's ring as a divine item, which allows the wearer to travel across space. Quen recognizes Kuro, who is revealed to be at the divine level, so Quen wonders what she's doing in the mortal world. Kuro opens a rift, trying to attack Quen, but the flower appears, telling her to keep quiet, and it burns her hand, forcing her to retreat. The flower disappears, and Quen lets go of Lin, saying he's slowing her down. Quen suddenly appears behind Kuro, cutting her wing, so she jumps away, and Quen returns to her allies, saying Kuro won't unleash her full power while in the mortal world, so Quen thinks they can win. Kuro removes her wings, as she summons a divine nail, which absorbs the energy of the cultivators she captured, and it strikes the ground, causing a divine sword to appear. Kuro reveals how God ordered her to go to the mortal world, and use 3 divine weapons to kill Lin. She takes the sword, and she starts approaching them, as the system informs Lin that the sword can shatter the laws, and it can even destroy the system. Kuro launches her nail at Lin, hitting his hand, and it teleports him towards her. She stabs his hand, which corrupts his body, causing him to collapse, and his friends try to save him, but they're stopped by an unknown force, which takes their powers away. A disc flies to Kuro, who reveals that it's another divine weapon, and she activates it, creating a massive formation around them. She falls to the ground, telling them that the formation will destroy the world when dawn breaks, and Lana wonders why she's doing this. So she reveals that she needs to eliminate Lin, because he doesn't belong in this world, and she loses consciousness. Lin is given a choice to exchange 1/5 of his life for absolute power, and he's about to accept it, but a fairy stops him, telling him not to do it. The corruption spreads to his eyes, and he sees a giant sword, as the system tells him that he's in a world inside his body. The sword releases chains, wrapping it around the system and causing the corruption to spread, as the system reveals that the sword is severing their connection. A fairy comes out of the system, and he rushes to get to her, but she tells him to stop, warning him that he will be caught in a calamity if he touches her. The fairy reveals that her name is Tina, and she's from a world where she lost him during a calamity, so she used all of her powers to join him in that world, wanting to change fate. We learn that Master Lu helped her find him, and she transformed herself into the system to keep him company, but she doesn't belong in that world, so Heaven is going to get rid of her. He sees Tina disappearing from his memories, as he realizes that she was protecting him the entire time, and she reveals that the calamity will end after she disappears, but he suddenly hugs her. Lightning is about to hit them, but he uses the finger of Heaven to shatter the sky, and they return to the real world. He sees that all of his friends are unconscious, and Tina approaches him, telling him they can stop the calamity, but it will keep on returning until she disappears. The formation is about to activate, as Lin explains that he wants Tina to stay, but she starts to disappear, so he becomes sad. Tina wants to act like the spirit of the system until the very end, so she tells him to prepare for their final fight, as Lin uses his almighty technique to control the divine weapons. Tina informs him that the nail can destroy the formation, and Lin uses his spiritual eyes, allowing him to see the formation's weakness. So he uses the nail to shatter it, breaking the formation, and he grabs onto the divine sword, pointing it to the sky. A massive orb of lightning falls from the sky, but he uses a technique called the Sword of Heaven, unleashing a powerful beam of energy which completely overpowers it, stopping the calamity. The sky clears, and the sun starts shining, but Tina flies away as she continues to disappear, giving Lin the final mission, which is to find her in the Kingdom of Spirits. She explains that they will meet again when he completes the mission, and she bids him farewell as she completely disappears. After the battle, we learn that all of the cultivators survived, and Lin still has the divine weapons, but he can't draw out their powers.